All right, Undergated family. It's your boy CD, Chloe's dad, and we also have Gunpla X Tesseract here for a very, very special episode for you guys. Clearly, we are missing one third of the podcast, but that is for a reason, isn't it, Austin?
Yeah, that's for a reason that is very clear for those who are fans of the podcast and watch
Right.
very often.
If the banner at the bottom of the screen doesn't give it away, finally we are sitting down to talk about Cyberpunk Edge Runners because I know Coop is going to say he's going to watch it, but he's watched about 15 other shows at this point, and this
shows
Cyberpunk
shows he's already seen, by the way.
that he chooses to rewatch. So this one's for you, Coop, and the rest of the Undergated family. Today we're going to be talking about Cyberpunk Edge Runners. Austin, let's get into it, dog. Tell us a little about Cyberpunk.
Shoot. Okay, so Cyberpunk Edge Runners is an anime coming from Trigger Studios, people who are most famous for Kill la Kill and one of my personal favorites, Gurren Lagann. And this group has essentially kind of, I don't want to say been the absolute pinnacle of anime production, because they've definitely had some that are some oddballs, but they are at least the wildest and more times than not the more creative anime studio that takes a lot of chances on things. And I feel like with this show particularly, they took a pretty big chance on just regular video game adaptation stuff, and it actually turned out pretty well, and chances in different ways. But we'll get into that a little bit further. But yeah, it's it's anime that came out in 2022. It was produced in conjunction with CD Projekt Red, the people who actually made the game in which it's based off of, which is Cyberpunk 2077. A game that is, I guess, more infamous than famous, or more famous than infamous at this point. But once again, we'll get further into that as well. But yeah, it aired on Netflix as a Netflix exclusive, and it blew up and just started taking the whole world by storm. People were shocked at how good it was. It's quite short, only 10 episodes, so people could usually watch it in one sitting. And by the end of the story, people were having some cheers, some tears, and a banging soundtrack in which everybody went and downloaded and can't listen to without crying in their car.
Right. Every time, dog. Every time. So sentimental. Every time I hear a song that was in that show, it like takes me back to the very first time I watched it. And I was like, damn. Yeah. So like Austin was saying, 10 episodes. They're pretty short, 25 minutes. But I think they did such an amazing job, like weaving the story, that it didn't need to be any longer. They could give a second season, but for what? Like, it was done so well. The story wrapped up nice and tight. It was amazing. So let's talk about some highs. What was your favorite parts, Austin? What did you enjoy the most?
Honestly, the relationship between all of the main characters and this kind of made together family that comes together just to like found family type of films.
Right.
That was my favorite part, was just watching all these people bond. And I think that's kind of like the secret sauce, because the setting isn't entirely crazy or different. It's unique, but it's not like, groundbreaking or genre defining. It's the people that inhabit that setting that were what's making me come back. David, I felt incredibly bad for, and then incredibly happy for.
Right.
Lucy, I was super intrigued by, and watching their relationship form was a joy. Rebecca, Pilar, Kiwi, Dorio, and all these other characters that were slowly coming together, I had some type of small affinity for. It was crazy because you didn't have a lot of time to really even be there to see it, but you're just like, I like watching these people. So it's all the stronger point when things start to go south, that make you just saying, get out of there, guys, get out of there, get out, you guys got to get out. I don't want any of you to get hurt. And I think I like overall that feeling it gave me of these cool people that are this family together trying to make it in this really tough world. So yeah, I think that's one of my highs, my biggest highs for it. And the soundtrack is effing killer. I was shocked at how good the soundtrack was, because usually, I'll admit, in anime, sometimes when we get the Japanese soundtracks like the Kurosawa or whatnot, I think it's a little bit overplayed. I've been watching 86 recently, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is so dramatic, right? Or Unicorn, I'm like, that Unicorn's theme is dope. Everything else, I'm like, it's so dramatic.
Here comes the orchestra for the simple part.
Right. And then if you watch things like what is it? The other anime with the OC protagonist that's overpowered, like all of his powers have that Japanese soundtrack thing behind it. And I'm like, okay, cool. This felt as if it was so down to earth. And I think that's because they used the soundtrack from the game. So there was already a lot of production and ideas put into the soundtrack before Trigger even got their hands on it. But yeah, the soundtrack was an absolute joy. I'm surprised they have not released an album soundtrack of it yet. But
animated shows and movies as of late have been killing the soundtrack. I heard the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles had a really good soundtrack. Of course, Spider-Man. You and me raved about this on the replay still to this day. Like, the replay value of that, and even this, like you said, I wish there was an album out for it because the songs are so good. But going back to the highs, I want to touch on that too, Austin, what you were talking about. Even though it's 10 episodes, you feel like you're with the team for longer than that, because like you were saying, you get so invested. The way like the story goes, like I feel like I was with them for like 15 episodes before anything else, like the story really got into it, because they kind of give you enough of each character to show you like, all right, this is, you can kind of find some similarities in each character that you find with yourself. So I definitely like that. The family aspect for sure. The animation style, like you said, same studio that Gurren Lagann. Like I love Gurren Lagann and how like it was kind of weird but funny but dope. And this, you kind of get the same thing from this one. It's super graphic, like Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah,
I didn't realize. I just recently went back and rewatched it, and I'm like, damn dog, like
the gore.
The dude gets ran over by a truck, and you see each of his body coming apart as he hits each wheel, and I'm like, they have no issue with that. Spoilers, because we're talking about a review. When Pilar gets his head blown off, like it stops. It's from his face angle, so you just see like teeth, brain matter, and like
all the components,
everything, and like it's a sad, super sad moment, but you're also like, damn, like that's a lot of detail in this shot, yo. So like, shout out to them, because animation is crazy to be able to show that, and like not be afraid, even though it's TVMA or whatever it was rated, but like not be afraid to show all this gruesome stuff. It kind of adds to the story to let you know like how nitty gritty situation they were in. Like this is like the slums for them. So like this is every day someone getting blown up or shot up.
Yeah, and excuse me. Yeah, and I forgot to mention the animation when David uses his power.
Oh my god.
The fact they did every frame of his movement, and they stop and pause it and keep going. And I kept thinking, I was like, the animators didn't sleep that week.
No, bro. No way. Because you see how much he uses his power too. So for them to do it scene by scene, and then even at the end, like David Smash or Smash or whatever the guy's name is, the mercenary, he also has that same power. So they're drawing the same Adam Smasher. They're both doing their at the same time, bro.
And I love the color palette too. Whenever it goes in, it's that greenish blue hue color palette. Which if anybody knows stuff about the movie industry and arts and stuff like that, or the color theory that they use, it's always blue and oranges everywhere. Like the cinematography world is kind of stagnant, and you get to this anime and it's neon pink, green, yellow, neon yellow, with this dark, grungy gray and brown to blue, pink, purple highlights. I mean, and shoot, even the character designs are all brighter, either brighter extension colors or grungy, and you can kind of understand. Like Lucy's character design might be one of my favorite female character designs I've ever seen. I love her hair. I love her outfit. I love her weapon set. I love her eyes, the way they have the red line under her eyes to make it look very much like it's a grungy type of punk aesthetic. And futuristic, like what's it, Blade Runner aesthetic, right? I love all that, and I was like, this might be some of the funnest character designs I've seen in a while in a cyberpunk setting.
All of them, and like you said, like in this dark grungy, like the setting, but like David's jacket it's crazy like to see his character development. He's so bright in that first half of the story, all these bright colors, and towards the end, like I was watching him, like he loses all that bright, and he kind of like fits perfectly into that setting. So like you can kind of see the character development not only in the story but also in like the colors throughout the movie or out the show. So I thought that was pretty dope too.
Yeah, and even characters that show up for like just a fraction of time, like supporting characters, like David's doctor, like the Jamaican doctor that would install all his stuff, right? He was a blast. He was funny, and and it even has these moments where like even he would hit like, "Hey man, if you put on any more, you're gonna go down."
Yeah.
And David's like holding him by the throat against the wall, and he's like, "Look," and he's like, "I'm sorry, Doc, you didn't deserve that." That's another thing I like. These characters feel it's crazy for all their cybernetics, all the android parts, all the robots. They feel more human than most characters I've seen recently.
Right, fact. Full of metal.
Right? Like they make mistakes and they realize they've made mistakes. They apologize or they feel guilty for doing things.
Yes.
Right? They cheat and steal from people, but it's not always a fun time doing it. Like sometimes they hurt the people they care about. They're just like when Lucy betrays David in their first meeting. Right, and Lucy's just holding them there from their dream dance on the moon. And when Maine comes in, picks up him and everything, and Lucy, and once David tells him, he's like, "Well, my mother died yesterday.
Yeah,
that's why I have your stuff on me." Right?
Drops him on his head.
And Lucy just like you see it just for a fraction of a second there, and they animated it so well that crap.
The instant like, oh damn.
Yeah, and as he's leaving, she stops and she says, "I'm sorry about your mom," right? And he just stops, and then he just keeps walking out the door. And I was like, okay, these people have emotions. Like they actually like, and he felt betrayed. He felt hurt. And I was like, and she felt bad about it. I was like, we have not seen enough of this stuff, which is weird. Right.
It's crazy.
Basic human
emotion. And that's episode 2.
That's episode.
Already giving us that. Like Maine's character arc, like such a lovable like role model for David. Like you really like enjoy like their friendship and like him taking under his wing, and then him to like undergo the psychosis, but he only have like too much tech on them. He starts losing himself, and like you see him like the mood swings, like the instant anger, like he's like forgetting where he is for periods of time, and like you're like, oh my god, no, because you know what happens at the end of that, and you're like slowly watching him like lose himself, and like, no man, snap out of it,
right? Or like I said, spoilers before, or Kiwi's betrayal. Right?
Oh my god!
When Kiwi, like, there's a point where Kiwi's like, well, it's betrayal. It was like, yeah, I told her never to trust anybody, and this is what I always do, right? But somewhere between half of that, she starts to realize, like, you know, things are different now, and I might have always done this, but man, this was a mistake.
This is my family. Like they really like loved me,
right? They're like they all cared. I mean, I guess, and then her apology, which came a bit too late, and that's kind of like the overarching theme of the show. Everything was a bit too late. They all got out of it a bit too late.
A bit too late.
Just a bit too late. They were so close. They were on the edge, and they didn't make it.
Yeah, edge runners. And that's what they're always on the edge, which is crazy. Like you said, everyone was literally on the edge of making it. David, I feel so bad for him because like you wanted him to succeed, and he does, but then he gets a little too much.
Yep, just he goes a little bit over the edge, just a little bit, and Maine. And a part of me kind of feels like Maine was the result of it, like him telling him to keep running. Because if I was Maine and I was going out, I would like, hey, don't end up like me.
Right.
It's just stop doing this and just leave. Get out now. Yeah, get out and just go live your life happy with I see either way you looking at her. Right. Just go spend the time with her.
And like, it's crazy because you think Lucy like betrays David, but you find out why she was doing what she was doing. You know, like David has this affinity to be able to take on all this tech and not lose himself. And Asaka Corp finds out about this. The main like protagonist of the movie, antagonist finds out like, all right, he has this affinity to be able to take this stuff. Like, let's see what else he can take. And she's like, all right, let's wipe that from him. We want to keep David under wraps. And it's kind of reminds me of Godfather of Harlem, like Denzel's character in that movie. Is it Frank Lucas? Have you seen that movie? You
No.
heard of it? Frank Lucas was this super, super big drug dealer, and he was always low key, and he would like never got caught. But this one night, his wife was like, "Hey, like, go out, put this mink jacket on, like, let's go have a good time at this fight." And like he's sitting in this section where only the biggest drug dealers, the people with the biggest money are sitting there. And the only time he goes out and he's looking flashy, that's how like the cops catch wind of him, because he was out looking flashy. And David kind of reminds me of David, because like he was fine with his one implant. Then he got some better lungs. But the more he kept adding to himself, the bigger he got, the flashier he got. And eventually it was his downfall because he just couldn't stop.
Yeah, and I mean it was all going to one place. Like in the back of your mind, you're kind of new, because right when PLR's death like happened, and they all kind of acted like it's kind of the fate of all of us.
Right.
You kind of knew like, okay, this is everyone. Everyone knows where the end goal is. They just don't know when or where or how. Right. So the whole time you're just saying it doesn't have to be this way. Right.
Literally.
But they're like, our fates are sealed. And I was like, damn.
I've never seen a cast of so many characters get killed before like that. Like I forgot, there might have been one anime I watched. I can't think of the name right now, but like everybody died in this. Like,
everybody, like only one person made it out. Yeah. Only
like,
one person.
There's a team of these guys, and they all died.
They all went. Oh, you know what? And also, to talk about another great thing, the dub is actually good.
Wow.
The dub is fantastic.
Did you listen to the sub?
I did listen to the sub and the dub. I
Really?
actually like the dub more than the sub, believe it or not. I think David's voice in the dub was a little bit better. I forgot the actor's name, of course, but and I think Lucy's voice actor was a little bit better. It's Ani Wong or Olin or something like that. But she was stellar. I liked her, and I liked Rebecca.
Yes.
But in the dub, I think I liked Maine a little bit better in the dub. And
I enjoyed Maine. This is one of the few ones I actually, same. I started the subbed and got busy doing something. I was like, well, let me just throw it on in the background. I listened to the dubs, and I was like, oh damn, I had to like really drew me in. Like the voice acting. This is probably one of the better voice acting dubbed cast. Yeah, David's voice acting was amazing. Maine like really like kind of drew you in. Who's the guy from Breaking Bad with all the eyes that's in there? What's his name?
I knew you're talking about Gus the Sus.
Yeah, it'll come back to me. But he was in it, and like I'm like, damn, like they had a really good voice casting. So, art style, characters, all that good stuff. Those were some of my highs. The fact that it was 10 episodes, perfect length, like not too much, not too less. Good length of episodes. Honestly, like this is one of the highs for me, was just the quality. Like the Netflix, when they do these kind of like video game adaptations, like Castlevania, amazing. This amazing. Arcane, did you watch that? The one based off League of Legends?
I did watch that, and oh my god, I did not know what I was missing. I watched it recently. Damn.
Did? Right.
Damn.
I dabbled in League of Legends in college a little bit. Like the homies were on there, so I'd get on there, and like I was like, okay. But then this came on, I was like, damn, like, do I need to go boot up the PC again?
Bro, I gotta say, the dialogue in that show, Arcane, is unbelievable. I was shocked because I'm so used to dialogue being very direct and very informational grabby,
right?
As of recent, especially with like Marvel movies and whatnot. The dialogue's there more to give you points of reference and stuff like that, and then hit you with some emotional background and then move on. I think Guardians of the Galaxy doesn't do that as much, but a lot of the other Marvel ones do. Like in Arcane, almost every line of dialogue in there is more emotional based, and you're kind of there to fill in the gaps later on. Right. So I really love the dialogue in that show, and in this show too. I think the dialogue is just on point.
That brings me to this, Austin. Is Edge Runners the best video game anime, you think?
Video game, video game adaptation.
Yes.
And video game anime, I think it might be the best one. I can't think of anything else that gets close. For anime at least. And then for adaptation, this is up there.
Yeah,
this is up there. I can't think of anything in recent memory that's caused such a splash, except for maybe Castlevania, and even that, its last season, people weren't too hot on.
Yeah, it was kind of underwhelming. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and they have the new one with Castlevania Nocturne coming out. Actually, I think the end of this month of our recording. So, so everybody's really pumped about that. But no, I think this might be one of the best video game adaptations out there. I mean, there's only a handful of them because more times than not, video game adaptations suck.
Right. I think this might be Netflix's wheelhouse. Like if they can stick to doing stuff like this, like this is what we're looking for. The live action, we'll see. One Piece comes out in 3 days.
I've heard good and bad things, so
Yeah.
I'm on the
Early predictions. You think he gets season 2, or does he get axed like Cowboy Bebop?
Netflix has a reputation for axing shows, even good ones.
Right.
So, and if they're too expensive to make. So, dang. I think it's going to get a second season just because of the pure hype. If it can last 3 episodes on a positive rating, it's going to get a second season. If that first 3 episodes are dog water, they're going to just be done with it.
I'm not a One Piece fan. Like I don't watch it, don't read it.
Me either.
So I'm like, do good so we can get more, but also I don't really care. It's just it's huge. Like this is probably Netflix's. If this fails, I don't know if they're gonna dive back into this again. Like
yeah,
they might have to just wash their hands with this genre.
I say stick with Studio Trigger, give them some more money, and tell them to go make something else that they might be able to link some people with.
Oh man, yeah, I'm nervous. But yeah, I agree. I think, like you said, Castlevania, the last season. Did you watch it?
I did not watch it. No, I didn't finish it. I'm sorry, I watched. I didn't finish it. Yeah,
it was underwhelming for sure. The very first season, like, had me hooked. Even the second season, but this last one, I was like, okay, so maybe the newest one will bring back the love for it. But that's one thing it's going to give you is always good animation. The dialogue's good. Arcane, that was amazing. That's like different art style too. The music for that, amazing as well. Like it's crazy.
And this brings up a good point where people say that Blizzard had been making those what is it, those 3D cutscene movies for years, and all of them had been looking fantastic, and everyone just said, well, why don't they just make their own show? Right. And here's a good example of a company that has never made those like type of long form 3D movies or whatnot, right, but have some good history and storytelling. Just link up with an animation studio and bing bada boom, there you go.
Like man, yeah, I don't know we need more of it. What's one video game that you would like to see abducted into like a show?
Oh dang, you know me, Ace Combat. But besides Ace Combat,
always find its way, baby.
It's always Ace Combat, baby. It's always Ace Combat. But I guess if I had to pick another game, I think I would like to see Legend of Zelda.
That'd be tough.
A Legend of Zelda, maybe, I don't know if a Breath of the Wild version, maybe an Ocarina of Time, but a Legend of Zelda would be really cool as an anime, especially if you can keep up like the scale of adventure,
right,
and journey, like make it feel like Lord of the Rings, but not like the classic Lord of the Rings animation, not the movie, guys, the one by Peter Jackson, the actual animation one that came out first. But like the Lord of the Rings-esque, or maybe some type of I don't know, but I think it could be done. It's a lot of lore, a lot of history, and a lot of possibility you can do with that.
I think that's actually probably a crazy one. It'd be dope to see. I would actually really love it. It's like you said, it has that adventure aspect. They could really play on like going on an adventure. I was trying to think of one. I was playing old Nintendo, and I think Contra would be a dope one to see.
Contra, okay,
yeah, because it kind of reminds me of Cyberpunk with just the shooting and blowing stuff up.
Mm-hmm.
So if they kind of played on that, I think it'd be pretty dope.
You know what? Also, Metroid.
Yeah, any sci-fi like Metroid would be dope. I'd love to see that in anime.
Like her, like out the bounty. It would be like Mandalorian. Like she never takes off the helmet. And she enters like the
right.
Wait, is it this way? This way. Okay, this is the way. Wink.
Right. Gotcha. I was watching. Did you ever watch Santa Seiya, like Ronin Warriors and stuff?
Yeah.
So, did you see that they made a live action movie?
They did.
They shouldn't have.
Oh no, that's why I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, bro. So I watched it.
Mm-hmm.
Parts of it anyway, because it was so bad, I just gonna skip through it.
Understandable.
Yeah, bro. Just a complete waste of money. And like the best part of the show is the armor, right? Like the pieces coming on. It looked terrible.
I believe it.
It looked so bad. I don't know why they decided to do this shit. So that's my thing. That's talking about video games. I want to talk about like, how do these studios pick these movies like on these animes or video games? How do they do so bad? Like, I just don't understand. Is it because like the American like movies they got to fit a certain type of way or what? Because we have a terrible track record.
That's a good question. And I think it's a mixture of a lot of things. It's transferring the idea. Well, video games obviously are harder to adapt into film anyway because video games are an interactive media. Well, movies are not, right? But also trying to transfer, I think, Eastern philosophies and ideas and ways of thinking over to Western philosophy ones is a little bit difficult. I mean, even just with romances, they're kind of hard because, I mean, how many times in an anime we're like, oh my gosh, why do they just not talk to each other, tell each other? Well, in Japan, that's a thing. Like, you don't tell people your deepest feelings because it's seen as kind of a bother to other people. So, you know, there's actually like a societal norm there that's a barrier that they have to cross, right? But I think it's mixing between Eastern philosophies, Western philosophies, the fact that you can't go berserk crazy, like an animation can go absolutely nuts, right? But in live action, it looks very plain. And that's because, you know, like, can you imagine Demon Slayer, the end of Demon Slayer season 2? Like that entertainment district arc, that fight scene at the end. Can you imagine that in live action, how slow it would be going compared to the anime? Right. So I think it's just a number of factors of anime can give you the absolute craziness and peak of what it is. And animation and live action, just by the nature of, you know, physics exist, weight distribution, gravity, we're all these things limit basic and also just suspension of disbelief. Right? When you look at a real person, you don't expect them to move like an anime character. Now you can make them move like an anime character and just hope the audience, you know, just accepts it. But you have to have a pretty darn good movie at that point, pretty much, to allow the audience to suspend their disbelief on stuff. So I think it's a whole factor of things, including money.
Definitely money.
Yeah, and also like they change things all the time from anime when they bring it over to the West, just so people in the Western culture can kind of understand exactly what's going on. Like, I did not know this until recently. Japan doesn't really have any curse words. Like, they don't have curse words in the same sense that we have curse words, right? So even when they curse in anime, we have to then make a new curse word or find the best curse word to match it. So yeah, I think it's a whole number of factors.
Man, I mean, because I know we've talked about this on the pod, but I feel like they have to be more grounded when they make these movies. Like, I feel like the sci-fi movies are easier for them to make because like we have like the tech for it. But like you said, imagine a Demon Slayer. I'm sure I don't know if we'll get a Demon Slayer live action made here, but like
I doubt it.
Like a Gundam's more realistic, like a more of like the one with Tom Cruise, Ronin Kenshin, stuff like that. Like nothing that's super crazy. Demon Slayer, like all those, the water, like that'd be crazy to see animated.
And the thing is, all those water effects, fire effects, and all those are technically supposed to be like the imagination of the swordsman.
So
like
it looks like they're just flying around.
Right. So when you just they just look like they're
water style.
Or the one guy who just brings out a gun. Second Amendment style.
Yeah, literally. Speaking of that, Austin, have you dabbled in any? Have you picked any up yet?
No, I have not. No, I have not.
Still researching.
They're awfully expensive, so I may not at all.
Yes.
Way more expensive than I thought.
Yeah, I have one, and that was $770. Yeah.
Yeah. See, no, I'm good with that.
And that's like not even on that's a more compact, like smaller one.
So for people who don't know what we're talking about, there was a discussion where I was going to buy like a makeshift firearm that you can build, like a model kit, the Olympic ones that they use in competitions. Yeah, those are pricey. Yeah, they're pretty pricey. But back to anime.
So we have decided I'm crowning it the best video game adaptation. Does remind me of like King of Fighters. That should be one of my favorite video games.
Yeah,
I did watch their animes. Those are good fighting animes, but that was also in the 90s. So those are some of my favorites too.
It's been a while.
Yeah. But Edge Runners, they take the cake for me.
It makes you want to play the video game.
Yes.
And I think that's where its biggest praise are. I remember watching King of Fighters and Street Fighter and all that. And I love the characters. I didn't really care too much to go play it, even though I was into fighting games. This one I wanted to get Cyberpunk, but my
Right.
PC is a toaster.
I think that's the best thing about a show, when it makes you want to go like learn more. Like
Yeah.
when I watch or read something like I'm really invested in, I'm like, all right, I gotta go like find out more. And Cyberpunk, I played the game for like 10 minutes before, and I was like, all right, whatever, blah, I lost it. As soon as this came out, and I one sitted it, like watched it straight through, I was like, yo, where's the CD at? Like, where's the game? I gotta go play this now. So when you can tell a studio does a good job when like you said, when it makes you want to go play the game, and I'm sure the sales of it went through the roof.
So a bit of history. I guess we can get into the history part of it.
Yes.
Cyberpunk Cyberpunk 2077 was kind of a flop at launch. Not very well optimized, was overpromised, underdelivered. CD Projekt Red kind of set that up themselves. They announced the project way too soon in production than they should have, and it was in the toilet for a while. But they were pushing. CD Projekt Red was pushing out updates over and over again to try and get the game back on track, get the game fix all the bugs. And they decided that this anime was already in the works before they launched the game. When the anime came out, they had pretty much worked out more of the kinks, but a lot of people had already abandoned the games, just writing it off as bad. This anime came out and it was so good, so interesting. People loved it to death that they ended up just having to go back and try it. And Cyberpunk, it literally brought the game back to life. I think on Steam it reached a highest concurrent player rate after the anime dropped. So it might be one of the first instances where an anime adaptation, especially an anime, actually boosted the sales of the game and kind of revived it from the grave. And now it's still running. They have an update. Phantom Liberty came out recently. Yep. A lot of people still praise its successes, and they're still working on the game. It pretty much was a No Man's Sky type of story. A game that came out terrible, but over the years came out to be an absolute banger.
I was actually just at Barnes and Nobles, and they've even put out new books for the Cyberpunk 2027, like an actual like novel.
Oh wow!
I'm like, man, like I'm an avid bookstore guy, so I'm always in there. And like, game came out, nothing. Now I'm in there. There's like 3 different books, like novels about Cyberpunk, and I'm like, oh my god, like, and all dwells on the success, because I see people that don't even watch anime who like actually enjoyed this. Like, I recommend it to people. Like, I'm like, hey, like, I know you don't watch anime, but like, check the show out. Loved it. And I think that it probably took them to the game. I have some friends that aren't even gamers. Hey, but what are you playing? Oh, I'm playing Cyberpunk right now. Like, for real? Yeah, the anime had me like so hooked. I had to go play the game. So, shit. Shout out to the Cyberpunk.
Shoot, man. I mean, and what's crazy too is that I think the one thing that kept me away from the game was no third person view, and they just added third person view into like the newer update. So now everyone's like, well, okay, well now even I have to try it even more now.
Right. I'm telling you, Austin, that's all the signs are pointing for you just to upgrade the PC.
I'm gonna have to spend that bread. Or
treat yourself, Austin. Hey, I mean, man, I'm hurt, bro. The ship has sailed. There's no longer the site. The alleged site is.
It did its purpose. It will never be forgotten.
Nah, man.
We'll write it on the tombstone.
Literally, the greatest. So yeah, Cyberpunk video game. I believe it's on Steam. Mm-hmm. If you don't have the actual copy of it, it's on Steam. Check it out, y'all.
Yep. Gotcha.
Now, so we talked about the highs. We've been raving about the show. Were there any lows? Anything that you didn't like?
Okay, so the 10 episode thing, this is kind of a shadow compliment, but the 10 episode thing, I feel like the pace sometimes was a little bit fast. Mm-hmm. And we didn't get as much of a background on all the characters that we could have. I think maybe 12, maybe even 15 episodes would have been a little bit better. But the thing is, the pacing's so fast, but it still ends and runs it so well. Like if they could extend it to 12 episodes and give me a little bit more backstory on Pilar and Rebecca, right, and how they came to be, right? That would have been an even harder gut punch when Pilar dies, right? Or they gave us a little bit more backstory on how Dorio met Maine, or Maine met Dorio, and how they met Kiwi, and how they all came together. That would have given a bit more gut punch when everyone starts to get it. Go
Especially with Pilar, because we were all kind of like, all right, bro, you're kind of a creep.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I was like, oh man, but also like, who kind of cares?
Yeah,
So
his death, his emotional aspect of his death all came from Rebecca. He's just
yeah,
seeing Rebecca's reaction to it.
hurt.
Yeah, and then for tidbit for those who watched, you realize the reason why she got bigger arms was because when she picked up the shotgun or to try and shoot the guy who shot Peeler, it blew her back.
Right.
So one of her upgrades she got was bigger arms, so she could hold heavier weapons, so that won't happen again.
See, tidbit.
See, yeah, right. So it's those small things, but I think that we could have seen a little bit more from everybody, and that
Right.
would have just made the show even that much better, in my opinion.
Definitely. I like the time jump they had too from like little David to like grown man. Even though I feel like was it a couple months or a couple years?
I think it was like 2 years, two
So
years
like
or a year.
I would have
Yeah.
liked to see like maybe like a half episode of like him like the upgrades, like what he was going through. Because like when you catch David in the second like core of the show, like mentally he's you can tell like bro's had a tough time after
Yeah.
the death of everyone. So just like you said, I like the 10 episodes, but yeah, definitely it could have gave us maybe 12. Another little, just a little more about their relationship with Rebecca, Pilar, just dabs here and there, but can't complain. Definitely 10 episodes. I wish we'd have got, I don't know. I feel like that last fight scene or like the last episode could have been maybe another episode too. Like I wanted a little more from that because it all kind of happened like this.
It was rolling. It was like, guys, we only got 10. We gotta go. We gotta get
Right,
out of
yeah.
here. We
Yeah. Like,
Netflix ain't
man.
gonna make 11. We out.
Yeah, it definitely could have used a lot because I feel like that. Like I just wanted a little more like it was the commentary between Smasher and David was hilarious. Like them going back and forth. And he's like, "You ain't got any brains up there? You all chrome and shit." And like they were just talking shit to each other.
Or when Smasher was like, he was like, "Yeah, well, I'm pretty special too. Is that supposed to be a joke?"
Right. And they're like this close to each other talking shit. And then David turns away for a second. He shoots him in the stomach. Like the comedian factor was good too. I would have liked. I hate to say like I guess give me like a slice of life episode, like a beach episode or some shit. I would have liked that too.
Even an episode that like you said in between the time skip where we start seeing the relationship between David and Rebecca get strained by
Right.
her secrecy, like how the small little, because we just get updated in that time skip that Miss Hacker Geek Girl doesn't want to come out with us anymore.
Right.
Rebecca explains, right? Or even a small little bit of Rebecca trying to make more moves onto David and David being
Yeah.
just like you're always going to be a sister to me.
Yeah,
Whatever.
right. Yeah, I definitely would have loved to see a little more development in their relationship on screen. Like it happens, like off the screen, but like a little, yeah, like you said, just a little more screen time.
And it says something that our biggest complaint is that there's not more of it. Right?
Crazy. It was so good, dog. You're like from the second they meet, you're like, I hope they get together. I hope they get together. Even maybe some more time with David's mom. Like she was some more understanding of her character, like how she got like mixed up with that group. It'd have been dope to kind of see that too, I think.
Or more flashbacks with Maine telling David about his mom and how they met, and he was like, man, the trial she went through just to get you through school and stuff like that. And now who would have thought you ended up here with me? Right? Just crazy. small little things here and there.
It was wild that his mom was trying to keep him out of all this, and he still finds a way to get into it.
Shoot, and it's all, dude, not even her fault. It was just a drive-by that happened.
That is crazy too. I mean, I feel like the biggest lows is us asking for more of stuff that we got just not enough of.
Right? Yeah, and man, I guess, was there any other low really? I mean, I personally can't think of anything much more than the pacing.
Yeah, honestly, that was it for me. Like, I'm just trying to rack my brain. Like, for the sake of lows, like, what can I nitpick? But like,
and it worked for me because it was only 10 episodes. I could watch it in one sitting. Like, it literally took just one day and ran through the whole thing. If it was 12, I bet I could too. But that's more time investment.
It would have been pushing a little bit, but the pacing and just like you said, the story was so good. We just wanted a little more of tad bit.
Dude, if they kept up the same amount of storytelling prowess, but for a 24 episode run, this might have been probably one of the greatest animes ever made.
Ever. So if they gave us another 12 episodes, would you want it after the fact, in the middle, or before?
Those first 12 would have to be a pretty big impact, and then the next 12 would have to be the time skip. So the first 12 would be David all the way up to Pilar's death. But we get like backstory, different jobs, different things. They explore more of the city, all that stuff. And then Pilar's death and his upgrades and final confession to Lucy, right? And him and Lucy getting together. That would be the end of 12. And then the next one would be the time skip with him being the leader of the group, Rebecca having his back, and them meeting and doing other new jobs, and then the whole plan just coming together.
Right. I also wanted more of Maine's, like, we only got like an episode and a half of Maine's traumatic, like tumultuous, like him imploding. I wanted some more, like, you know, some more of that, because that part of the show was like, man, like gut wrenching just to see like David's idol really like just falling apart in front of him. And I think I would have loved to see that expanded upon.
Shoot, man, the emotional gut pack, the emotional impact is so strong that it's almost a bittersweet kind of scenario where you're like, man, I want more of this, but also I don't want to hurt as bad.
Right, like, I'm happy, man, that you got away and you did what you had to do and like ended it, because like it had to, but like it was so bad, man, because like he's snapping on everybody, ends up snapping on, what was her name?
Dorio.
Yeah, Dorio, and like ends up getting her killed while she's trying to protect him, and then he just like, well, fuck it then. And just,
he was like, and it's reminiscent to like Alzheimer's disease and stuff like that. Like you're seeing someone you care about fall apart in front of you, and that man, that whole I know we're talking about lows, but that episode 6 is where everything just lands so hard, bro.
Oh my god,
and the emotional the fact that he's in the car talking to Lucy, and he's like, aren't you gonna tell me that I can do it too? Right? And he's like, and Lucy's telling him like, let's just go, let's just leave. This is done. I don't want to do this. And he's just like, I can't leave him. And he gets out the car and zooms away. And you're like, dude.
Bruh. And then like the Maine's like walking down this long road, like it's just like,
and it comes at the end of the road.
Yeah, like literally, like, I'm like, damn, man, it hits. I can't even say that. There's no low in that episode at all. Like from start to finish, you're just like on the edge of your seat. Like I was sad, dog. I'm at the end of the episode, I'm like, damn. Like, and I felt for David, because you see like the traumatic shit. I felt like I was David. After that, I would have came back enhanced as hell too. I don't blame him.
Yep, he held his hands. I was like, dang.
Damn. That's favorite episode. Is that your favorite episode?
Yeah, that was my favorite episode. Yeah, that was my favorite episode, hands down.
Yeah,
I like the whole show together. I really liked the ending, actually. The ending got me, but yeah, that was probably my favorite episode.
I just rewatched the ending, like I said, and like seeing like Rebecca do everything she can for David, and then she gets stomped out. Like,
bro, she's a beautiful pancake at that point.
And we were talking about this right before we came on, but like they showed it from like 4 or 5 different angles. They showed it from like her shooting up, looking at her, like backed up, looking
at top.
Oh my god, damn!
I mean, shoot, the only thing they were missing was the POV aspect of it, just on her head of the GoPro.
Like, god damn! And you're like hoping that like he's just kicking her through the floor and like she's managed to get him away, and then
they show that shot.
The rubble clears and she's just fucking
dead with her head like half open.
Yeah, I'm like,
God. And you're like, no.
God damn. And then you're like, you know, David's going to die. Like, he even knows it. There's no way from him coming back. But you're still hoping that he comes back and him and Lucy can like ride off into the sunset.
Yeah, and no. There's a small part of your brain that has already made the acceptance that he's not going to make it, and you're just like, but there might be a. I mean, it can't. No, there's nothing. But I mean, he could no. But I mean, there's a no. Oh, he could be a construct. No, why would he want to be that?
Once he has no arms and legs and he's in that shit, I'm like, all right, bro, there's no way. And they're shooting the shit out of him, giving him all these pills, and he's like barely.
Yeah, and he even ends the series on the same words he opened it. He's like I give a shit.
Right, crazy. Bam.
Yeah.
Wait, I feel like someone else did the driver. Did he die?
No. Falco. Actually, Falco's actually in the game. You can actually contact Falco. So yeah, Falco lives. Yeah. Falco is the person who gets Lucy away. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. The rescue mission was a success, but it cost them everything. So
Everything.
yeah, but yeah, that's our lows, I guess.
Well, positives.
Positives were more lows for positives.
Whose death hurt you the most?
David really hit me in the gut, and I think the part that hurt me the most was not only did we not get David the most and everything like that, right? But it's on the moon when Lucy is walking around and David gave her that small little bit of downloaded file that she runs of him being on the moon, and he turns around and says, "I could really feel the sun," and he's happy, and the music cuts out right when he disappears, and what got me was when he disappeared, I was like, "Oh, that was a perfect shot." But then the look on Lucy's face,
right,
that look of just absolute destruction and sadness, followed by the happiness that at least that they had a chance where it happened, where she remembered the good times and she looks at the sun and opens her arms. I broke down. I'll admit, I'm a man. There were tears coming down my face.
Hey, no
when
cap,
Lucy
bro.
just was like that. I was like, no.
That hurt, dog. I'm not gonna lie. I'm with you too. I definitely was like, but emotionally invested, dog. When you get a good show like that, like, because you know there's no more. This is a one-off, and as soon as that shit hit, I'm like, I want to live with these characters some more, dog. I wanted to live with them a little more, but that send-off, the ending, like that's, if all my anime endings could be like that, I wouldn't even be mad because I don't have to worry.
Yep.
Like I know I'm okay with it. No shit untied, no strings. Everything's burned off with seared. We know. God damn, man.
Dude, the anime, I think what was his name? I think it's Arcada. Said once, the ending is paramount. So if your ending is on point, you can save a show. And if a show's already great but it ends badly, like
Game of Thrones.
There's too many to count. But
right.
But if the show's great and it sticks that landing, especially a gut punch one, and you're just like, all right, this is a top tier show now.
Right. Because you got to think about it. This is the last thing we're gonna remember. I could. Game of Thrones was. Did you watch Game of Thrones?
I did. I watched it, but I dropped it. I think at season 3 or 4.
Yeah, I dropped it, came back to it. But all those amazing episodes and seasons don't matter up when the endings dig. Like, sorry, but it was terrible. So like, you forget about all that hard work they put into it. So I'd rather you put all your efforts into the last episode and be like, so I can be like, damn, I wish the rest of the season was like this, rather than my last thought of it just being ass. So now I just assume it's all ass. So yeah, David's death hurt me the most, I think, for sure. Then Maine, just because like how it happened, and then Rebecca, because like we all fell in love with, like, you see, like, you already knew like Rebecca kind of like had feelings for David, and like seeing her like know that she's never gonna be with him, so she'll accept this role, like being his sister type.
And you know what? It's kind of funny. There was a bit of it there that kind of seemed like she was more than okay with being the second wife.
Right.
Like she was being the side piece. She was more than happy to be that.
She just wanted David, but
yeah.
Do you think if Lucy should have told David the secret, it would have changed anything? I feel like that was kind of weighing on her too. It maybe would have helped the situation.
You know, a part of me thinks it would have, but a part of me also thinks that it wouldn't have changed David's outlook, because he would have been like, well, we need money and I'm going to keep working to Maine's ideas. And when those people come at us, we're just going to fight back with everything we got. It makes no real difference to me, as long as, and if he was looking at Lucy, he was like, as long as you're with me, I don't really care. Right. And to her, she's probably saying, well, I don't want to lose you. And that's probably why she probably wouldn't even tell him to begin with. Also, she doesn't like to open up to people. Yeah. Right. And the one time she did open up to David a little bit, right, she felt bad because she used it as a lie, or he thought it was a lie. Right. To hurt her. And now she's the only person she's ever trusted is now being hunted down. So like I kind of understand why she didn't say it, but yeah, I think if she did say it, it probably wouldn't have changed too much.
David was already off. He was already like, well, fuck it. At this
he was already too gone. Yeah. Right. He was already too far gone. Matter of fact, we could add extra episodes for her explaining why she didn't tell David. Right. That would have been actually an interesting plot point they could have added in.
I like that. I like that. I like that. So, anime of the year, was it your anime of the year last year?
It was my anime of the year. Out of everything I watched, Bocchi the Rock had just come out and had not finished by the time the end of the year technically happened. So
Right.
if Bocchi had finished, it would have been this and Bocchi as anime of the year contenders. But no, this blew it out the water. I was not expecting this to be good. Call me shocked.
Right.
Now I have a Lucy flag on my wall. I'm getting a Rebecca flag on that wall, and I have a whole bunch of Cyberpunk Edge Runners like merchandise now. So, hey, what can I say? It absolutely floored me. I am shocked to the bone, and yeah, it's hands down my favorite anime of that of 2022.
Yeah. And for it to come out right at the end of the year too, like I can't remember.
And that year was stacked, by the way.
no.
That year was stacked.
Yeah.
There was so many good anime. But I'm sorry, continue.
No, that's what I was gonna say. Like in a year of really good anime, last year, this year it's been okay, but last year was hitter after hitter after hitter after hitter, and here comes this and I feel like I didn't see anything like Netflix. Like I didn't see any like trailers for it. It just kind of like popped up on my feed one day, and I was like, oh.
I remember I watched a Giguk episode where he talked about. I saw one trailer for it, and I thought, okay, that looks pretty interesting, but a little wild, like really wild. And then Giguk talked about it and said that no, this show ran through my soul. Like this was probably one of the best shows ever. I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. We'll see. It is. I really don't know because I was like, Giguk says some stuff sometimes. I was like, oh snap, no, this is great.
Right.
This is
I see
fantastic.
people on Instagram like talking on it like, oh my god, this was amazing. I'm, all right, like we're big anime manga guys. So I'm like, all right, so like I can't take everyone's word. Like, I'm like, all right, bro, you might have watched like 15 shows or you might have watched 20 shows. So like let's cool it off. I've seen a lot of stuff people said was good that wasn't. Episode 1, I'm like, I'm pretty sure I was up to like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Well, yes, around the same because I started at like 9 and I was like,
right.
Yeah, right. And I had work the next day too, and I was just
Same.
like, nah, F it.
Yeah, I'm like, I can run off 4 hours. So yeah, I have it in my anime of the year too by far. Like this is I honestly say this is one of my top 10 favorite animes ever.
Yep.
Like this it's cemented itself, maybe even top 5. That's one episode we'll get into. Me also, we got to sit down, get a list of 10. We won't say 5 because 5 is too hard.
It's too short.
Yeah, we'll do 10, and we'll see what we got in there. I think our list probably has some similarities for sure because we kind of like the same thing.
Yeah.
So,
and this has definitely cemented itself in that top 10.
Like,
I mean,
crazy dog. Like best one season of anime. Like this is. I'm trying to think. Bocchi was amazing. Like I caught Bocchi after I probably watched it in like February, and I was like, "Yo, this is crazy.
It's dope. Yeah, I mean, shoot, it's. I'm trying to think of its competitors really, and it might be it might be sitting up there with the greats. The only thing is now is I need to actual like physical DVD.
Yeah,
of it because no, I don't believe so. Netflix has a reputation of not releasing their physical media until years later because they want you to buy the subscription service, right? So they have a reputation for not releasing physical media versions of it, which is why there's so many third-party companies just making Cyberpunk Edgerunner stuff without the license because Netflix is kind of a hole when it comes to licensure and stuff. Yeah, that's why all their stuff is so expensive. I think the David Nandroid is like almost like 15% more expensive, 20% more expensive than the regular Nandroid because of the Netflix sponsorship. So, or 10%. I'm sorry, 10% to 15% more expensive. But yeah, no. If they release a physical copy, I can sit it up there next to my other collection of physical best anime of all time,
right? And
I can kind of work out exactly where it's gonna go.
The order of it.
Yeah.
Damn you, Netflix.
I know, right?
Give it to us, man. Because like, what's crazy is like. I've sailed the 7 seas looking for it, and it's a no site, dog. Like Netflix has it under gate key lock.
That Netflix coding is hard to rip. It is hard to rip from them, man.
I've not seen it. Like some shows I can definitely find, but this is the one that's like, nah, buddy, you can only find it here. You have to come watch it here with us. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. I'll pop it on because it's amazing. Like you said, I want to sit down. We'll have an episode, and we'll just go 10
Top
for
10.
10. So I
10 for
can't
10.
wait for that one.
Shoot,
But
we might as well make one that's a Toonami exclusive list, and
oh
then
my
an
God,
actual
a
regular
Toonami?
anime.
That'd be fire though, because we grew up on it, yo. Like,
Yeah, Hamtaro.
oh, hey, 5 a.m. baby, Hamtaro used to
5
be
a.m.,
on
yeah.
early in the morning. Is Gundam on your top 10 list?
One Gundam show is
One Gundam show.
one or two Gundam shows.
Butcher
But
Mercury?
no, actually. So I know Coop can't. I know I can hear Coop right now. I can hear the wee from Coop in the corner
Right.
of his house, he's miles away. But yeah, no, Witch Mercury is no longer in that top list. It's a good one, but that ending.
Oh, you walked it
quick.
out of there, huh?
I did walk it out of there. Love the kits, love the designs, love the music, but story and the ending are paramount.
I do have one about your top 10. What's the oldest show on your top 10?
The oldest show on my top 10. That's a good question. You know, I'll have to look at it because I think there's two shows that came out like in 1993, but didn't make it to the US till 97.
Same.
Yeah, so I got to take a look at it.
His and Her Circumstance.
What's that?
It's anime.
His and Her Circumstance.
Yes.
Oh, you know, what is it? Peach? Was
Yes.
it Lucky Peach? Yeah, I think that might be the oldest one.
Yeah, His and Her. If you haven't seen it, I don't know what the Japanese name for it, but I think you should watch it. It's hilarious. Like one of the very first rom-coms.
Shoot, what was the one about the high school about the delinquent that falls in love with the one chick?
Oh,
that's old. He used to wear the glasses all the time.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's old too. Dang, dude, they're Oron High School Host Club. There's a lot. There's a lot.
Teacher, what's it? GTO.
Yeah, GTO, Greatest Teacher. Oh geez, and then you get to the OVAs. Shh. We're gonna be here all day. Macross, Fortune Spinner. I think that might be the oldest one. I think that might be it.
Hey.
Yeah, Macross. Yeah, because Macross was one of the first anime I've ever completed, and I absolutely loved it. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, we'll do that one day.
Yeah, we'll say that for another one. So, final thoughts. Edge Runners, amazing show. If you guys haven't watched it, please do. It's only on Netflix. You can't surf the seas for that one. Storytelling, art, directing, music. Have at it, man. That show is amazing from top to bottom.
Yep. Agreed. I couldn't have said it better myself. Check it out if you get a chance. You know, hey, borrow your friends. Actually, you can't even borrow Netflix.
Nah, bro, they unlocked that shit up.
Yeah, they did. So I mean, I guess slide into someone's home and just watch it real quick and then dip before they get back.
Yeah, and leave in the comments, man, what you guys thought about Edge Runners. Is it a top 10 show for you? If there were any lows that you thought that clearly we didn't have any, besides duration. You know, sprinkling some stuff here and there, but anything that you guys didn't like, let's also talk about, you know, video game adaptations. What are your favorites? Something that maybe needs an anime that you would think would do well. Zelda, Metroid, Contra, you know, that's a favorite of mine. Shout out to the missus, she loves that. We'd be on that on the old Nintendo 64? No, Super Nintendo. We be playing that together.
I think it's Super Nintendo, yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. So, shout us out, man. It's your boy CD, Gunplay Tesseract. Don't forget to tune in to us on Wednesdays for the Undergated podcast, Thursdays for Coop's Corner. What does he say is the handsome host over there?
The most handsome host of on YouTube.
Yeah. Anyways, check us out here. We'll be bringing you guys more anime content, top 10s, some of our favorites. What else do you want to talk about, Austin? Is there anything episodes you can think of that you want to bring to these guys?
Yeah, you know what? We might have to do an episode on Bocchi the Rock. We might have to do an episode on our thoughts on Chainsaw Man Part 1. And let's see, I just finished I just started finishing 86. So we'll probably have one on that and Jujutsu Kaisen. Because apparently everyone tells me the manga is now more superior currently than the anime, but that's because they haven't gotten to a certain arc.
Yes, which is coming.
So I just heard about that today. Yeah,
drops the 31st first episode.
Yeah, Kenneth told me that he's like the Shibuya arc. He's like, dude, that is the pillar of Jujutsu Kaisen.
So I went back and reread the Shibuya arc, and I'm like, because like the first 5 episodes, dog, of this season it's all like Gojo's. He's like sitting in the back daydreaming. When he wakes up, that's when the Shibuya arc starts. But like this first 5 episodes, it was like a season in itself, bro. It was so well thought of, written, the dialogue, the animation, the fight scenes. Like I was telling you, Cooper, in the last episode, like the way Gojo is now in the series is all because of these 5 episodes and like what happened to him. Like I said, this man hovers over the ground at all times now, so he can't be tracked by his footprints because he was tracked one time by a footprint, bro. Imagine that shit. You just walking over the ground now because you put a footprint down and they were able to track you.
Shoot, see, that's what, man. We got to do that. We're gonna do an episode one day.
Yes,
one day.
Yes, but until then, it's your boy CD Gunpla X Tesseract. Go watch Edge Runners. Shit was real, man. But until next time, peace.
Deuces, cuz.
Deuces.